everybody. We're going to get started in a moment. Just to reiterate what is being said in the chat to make sure that we're clear, we're going to be recording this session and then we will be posting it on YouTube to share. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to our MC for the day, Brenda, our department leader for math.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. So welcome, everyone, to the Division of Science Opportunities Fair. So a little introduction. The Division of Science Student Council brings together leaders from biology, chemistry, earth and atmospheric sciences, mathematics, physics, and sustainability. We aim to enrich the city's college student experience through the following key points: accessibility, collaboration, connection, and mentoring. A click down, what that kind of means is that we work towards sharing information and opportunities across the different departments. We organized interdisciplinary events to achieve our shared goals, create networking opportunities both internally and externally, much like this one, and we cultivate a community for personal and professional growth. Just so then you know who we are, our department leaders and each of their departments are Denise Morin and Mo Ganem, which represent the biology and biotechnology departments, Anastasia Data, which is a chemistry and biochemistry departments, Elaine Millian, earth and atmospheric sciences, myself, mathematics department, Sharon Jut Singh, physics department, and Navita Ruksha, sustainability and the urban environment. The advisory board for the council is Catherine Silverman, Jason Redman, Nkeme Stanley, and Christine Klusko-Stefano, all here today. They've been waving at you as I've mentioned their names. And also, our Division of Science Student Council meets with the Dean of Science to act as an advisory board as needed. So each year, we come together to work on collaborative initiatives and are always looking for new members, new participants. So if you're interested or want to get involved in any way, please email dosstudentcouncil@ccny.cuny.edu, which is in our chat right now. Save it if you are interested in getting involved. And I kind of ran through that a little quickly. That was our introduction, but if everything's good, I think we should, I'll get started. Just want to mention really quickly, we have a lot of presenters today, hopefully exposing you all to a variety of opportunities. Our list can consist of mentoring in medicine, the Smithsonian National Zoo, Duke University Marine Lab, Lifesci NYC Internship Program, Feinstein Summer Research Internship Program, Primer, which is a program to inspire minority and underserved undergraduates in environmental health research. That's a long one. Wally, Waiting Room as a literacy and learning environment internship, Gift of Life, and the Occupational Health Internship Program. So we have a lot of people talking to us today. And are there any questions? No? We good? Should just keep going on? Yes, okay. So our first speaker is Dr. Lynn Holden from Mentoring in Medicine. Dr. Holden,
yes, I'm here.
I think I saw you here. Yes,
yes, I'm here.
Early.
Thank you very much.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here today and to see some familiar faces and of course to see lots of new faces. I want to talk to you just briefly because I know you have quite a lineup of programs about mentoring in medicine and how you can become involved. So mentoring, well, let me introduce myself first. I am a professor of emergency medicine at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. I am actually the 5th out of 7 African-American female professors of emergency medicine. So that tells you that we have a long ways to go if I'm sitting here in front of you, and all 4 other professors are my mentors and role models. So that tells you the state of medicine. So in addition to that, I'm an attending physician in the emergency department at Montefiore, the Moses campus. And in 2006, a couple colleagues and I started Mentoring in Medicine, which is essentially a youth health and science pipeline program. It is a nonprofit, and the idea is really to not only inspire, but to educate and empower students such as yourself, beginning in elementary school and going up through career with various programs that we sponsor, resources that we provide along the continuum, and strategic planning sessions so that we can help you to develop your strategy and to become more competitive as you prepare your application if you should choose to go to medical school. The program has helped over 500 students to go to health professional school. I would say 80% of those students went to medical school, and 95% of those students were told no, that they could not do it for some reason or another. So we're very used to dealing not only with the social and emotional aspects of this journey, because indeed it is a journey with many obstacles. I wouldn't say obstacles, but I would say mountains and hills, but others have made it through. We like to have people who have a story to tell, who are successful. When I say successful, they're neurosurgeons, they're physicians, they're health professionals in general. Speak to our students to let them know that this journey is can be a little trying at times, but it is possible to succeed. So I'm going to close with that. And I know we're going into smaller groups later. If you're interested in mentoring in medicine, again, we not only have our own programs, which include a holistic pre-medical boot camp, which includes MCAT prep, but we have a community health ambassador program. We're actually now working with multiple medical schools to devise a coronavirus vaccine education community health ambassador program. So we would love to be able to help get you involved in that and other programs. But info@medicalmentor.org, info@medicalmentor.org is the way you can contact us. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Holden. That's great. Really interesting. So next we have Catherine Giuliano from the Smithsonian National Zoo. You can go ahead.
Up here. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Katie, and I'm currently an animal keeper at Smithsonian's National Zoo. I work primarily with our 6 lions and our 3 bobcats. And I just wanted to talk briefly about the number and diversity of careers that exist in zoos. Most people think really only of veterinarians. Some people think of animal keepers, but there's so much out there in zoos. We have definitely veterinarians, but we also have a lot of pathologists, veterinarian technicians, medical researchers who focus on, how the body works. It's a really cool opportunity because it's a lot of comparative anatomy. We're looking at so many different animals that really a lot is not known about. There's a lot from education if you're interested in working for people or very passionate about conservation biology and wildlife conservation. So you can be a communications expert and make social media and articles. You can be an educator who works on the ground with children and with other people. You can work on the website if you have different, skills and things like that. And then of course, there's people that work directly with animals. Animal keeper, I think, is a job people don't know a lot about. Right now, I think our jobs involve a lot of research, a lot of behavioral research. I have a lot of people who talk to me who want to become a behavioral researcher exclusively. And actually most research like that at the zoo is done by animal keepers. I have been able to present about some research I've done myself while being an animal keeper. So if you're interested in behavior, that's a really, really cool opportunity. We do cleaning and feeding and care. We do a lot of training. I've trained our 6 lions for voluntary injections, and they actually just got vaccines last week. And every single one of them was injected while they were awake by a veterinary technician. So there's a lot of really, really cool options there. I have some resources if I can share. I hope I can. I hope everybody can see that. But I will not be able to attend the session later. So if you have any questions, please email me. I've been doing a lot of personal one-on-one Zooms because everything's kind of shut down right now. So if you have any questions at all, reach out. And then I also know about an event that's going on later. It'll be in March, and it focuses exactly on what an animal keeper is and does. But if you're interested in working in a zoo in any capacity, this is a really, really cool opportunity. The info is all on Facebook, but again, send me an email and I can give you some more information. And hopefully this flyer was also exchanged and sent to you guys. I think that's it. And if you do want to message me right now through the Zoom, you can go ahead and do that. I'll be on hopefully until about 1 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, so next we have Tom Schultz from Duke University Marine Lab.
Hello, my name is Tom Schultz. I am the Director of Undergraduate Studies down at the Duke University Marine Lab. I am going to try and share my screen because I put together some slides and it helps me talk. It might be a little bit more engaging if I do it this way. So you probably don't know much about about Duke University or the Duke University Marine Lab, but we are a satellite campus or a field station that's located on coastal North Carolina. So we're about 3 hours from the main campus at Duke University in Durham. And so we have research faculty at the Marine Lab in residence year-round that study ecology, research, oceanography, policy, all elements of sort of marine conservation and research. This is a picture, an aerial picture of the actual Marine Lab in coastal North Carolina. And so we're pretty much a full-service mini campus. We have teaching labs, we have research labs. The Marine Lab was founded in 1938, and the adjacent city or the address is in Beaufort, North Carolina. And so I'm not going to go through all the buildings, but we have pretty much a full-service campus down here. And so students will typically come to the Marine Lab and spend a semester to take courses, do research with faculty. We offer courses both fall, spring term, as well as 2 summer terms. And obviously, this is a pretty spectacular place to be during the summer, right? That's the time the water's warm and, you know, everybody's having a good time. So I'm going to skip over this. There again, I kind of covered some of the research topics. So this is our research faculty. And there again, over a very diverse number of topics. We do a lot of conservation and have a conservation focus, both from a natural as well as social science point of view. So we study not only the natural science and the physical sciences, but also the social sciences that drive conservation and sort of, you know, community-based, or the communities, coastal communities. We offer a whole array of courses that are shown here. You know, some of them are marine specific, some of them are STEM courses. In spring semester, we actually divide our semester up into a block schedule, which allows us to do travel courses. These travel courses actually go to various places. I co-teach one that goes to Singapore that's focused on urban tropical ecology. We do marine ecology in Australia. We have a biology and conservation of sea turtles course that goes to the Bahamas and Puerto Rico. And so it's a pretty fantastic opportunity for students. We have a whole bunch of facilities, like I've already said, at the Marine Lab. We have 3 research vessels, teaching and research vessels that are kind of used for, you know, coastal research as well as offshore research. And then we have a drone facility, and the drone facility actually looks and uses drones to study marine questions. I run an oyster farm that gets students out in the water, as you can see here. Annie's a little short for the depth of the water that we're in at the moment. When I jumped over the side of the boat, she got a little nervous when she saw how deep it was, but you know, it's always fun and an adventure. We also have a number of programs, which I think is really interesting for this group and possible for this group. And really the ones that I want to highlight here are the first 2. We have an RU program on coastal and estuarine research. So these RU programs, if you're not familiar with them, they're research experience for undergrads, and they're fantastic programs for summer internships for students to go and get experience doing research. And so our program is set up where a student intern is set up with individual faculty member in a lab, and they're actually doing an independent research project in that lab. And so it's a paid internship. You live on the island for the summer for 10 weeks, and you learn how to do research at a really high level. And so it's a tremendous opportunity. And I encourage you to apply not only for our program, but any of the RU programs, because it's a fantastic opportunity if you're not familiar with them. And then we also have a limited number, but we do have summer and fall scholarships for students to come down here and take classes. And so you should definitely explore the opportunities that, you know, you can take advantage of for the fall and the summer scholarships. And then we also have a scholars program, but that's mostly for students who are doing their degrees at Duke. And so that wouldn't necessarily apply to you guys. And so just some photos of campus life, and then I've got some contact information. So we have a website where you can get a lot of this information if you want to look further. We're part of the Nicholas School of the Environment at Duke University. And so nicholas.duke.edu/marine lab will take you to our website, which is very well populating a lot of information there. Katie Wood is our assistant director for undergraduate programs. And then, like I said, I'm the director of undergraduate studies. And so I encourage you all to reach out if you have questions. The fact that I just got through these slides means I can show you a short video during our 3-minute session, which is much more entertaining than the slides. So I wasn't too sure which one I was going to show, but we'll go for the video in the 3-minute sessions. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. All right. So next we have Sharon Albert Kaplan from Lifesci NYC Internship Program.
Hello, I'm the program director of the Lifesci NYC Internship Program, and I am also going to share my screen. Okay, there we go. Did that work? Did that work? Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes, you're good to go. Thank you.
So thank you for all joining me here today. The Lifesci NYC Internship Program is part of New York City's larger 10-year, $500 million initiative to grow the life sciences industry in New York City. And we are doing the workforce development piece of that initiative, which is mainly dedicated directly towards industry. We have, for the past 3 years, offered paid 10-week summer internships for college and graduate students in both science roles and business roles. And we are now not only recruiting for roles for this summer, but we are also placing students into winter and spring internships, as well as some part-time and full-time jobs, which may be appropriate for current students or recent graduates. So we're now going into our 4th year. And life sciences might sound obvious, but I want to just go over a little bit about what life sciences means in the context of the kinds of places that we can place students into internships. So that includes pharmaceuticals, drug delivery, it includes medical devices, it includes healthcare, it includes digital health, and finally it also includes, for our purposes, companies that are supporting the life sciences industry here in New York City. So that might include a venture capital firm or an ad agency or a public relations firm. And here, I'm not going to go through them because we only have a couple minutes, but just to give you an idea of the breadth of opportunities we offer, this is a list of all the companies that hosted interns in our program last year. Quickly about eligibility. Anybody who is attending City College and has the ability to work in the United States without sponsorship would be eligible for our program. We also accept recent graduates. Undergraduates and graduate students are eligible, and we do recommend having a 3.0 GPA to apply. However, if your GPA is lower, there is a place in our application where you can discuss any extenuating circumstances that affected your GPA. You don't have to choose the science or the business side when you apply, but I do want to let you know that there are opportunities in both of those areas. So while we're open to science majors, we're actually also open to business majors, and also science majors can apply for positions in the business realm because often companies do want people who understand the science to take on some of those business roles. And this is definitely a long sheet that you're not going to look at everything now, but I'm going to share this presentation later with Christine so that she can send it to all of you if you want to reference it later. But just to give you an idea of the many different kinds of positions that we're placing students into, these are ones that we have actually listed among our opportunities over the last 3 years. Some of these may be available this year, some new ones, some of these may not, but there's really a wide variety of different kinds of opportunities, many of which I think when you're in school, you wouldn't know that those kind of opportunities exist in all these different corners of the industry. Our timeline is that our application is now open. We have an online application, which you must complete before you can view our summer listings or apply to those opportunities. The deadline to apply for our summer program is March 31st. You want to make sure you complete the application by then, though we will continue to list opportunities after that to which you can apply once you're an applicant by simply submitting a cover letter. We will have a boot camp for 3 days at the beginning of the summer for anybody placed into a summer internship, which is a really great opportunity. And in terms of those year-round opportunities, that is going to continue to happen on a rolling basis. The way the placement process works is once you apply and complete our online application, you can view those lists of current openings, submit cover letters for any roles that interest you, and then we will send your application on to companies if we feel you're a strong fit. And then it is up to the companies who they would like to interview and who they would like to hire. But you can apply for multiple positions via our program, and we encourage you to do that. The application, just really quickly, will require you to upload your resume, to answer a couple personal statements. There's an optional video. We'll ask you for an unofficial academic transcript. You're going to list your various other credentials, and you're going to provide at least one name of somebody who can provide a recommendation for you. We're going to evaluate you on your interests in the program and in the life sciences, even if you're not a life science major, and that's fine, just that you want to use your talents in that realm, your personal and professional maturity and integrity, and any technical skills that you already possess in your area of specialty. And just to note that if you're applying for our non-summer roles, it's a quicker, more streamlined process where it's really just based on a resume and cover letter. Here we have, I put some links for more information. We actually have 3 upcoming info sessions. The first one on February 9th is actually exclusively for students at CUNY schools. And then we have 2 more coming up later in February. I will also share these links in the chat after my presentation. And in these info sessions, we will not only be providing more information about the program, a more expansive version of what I've just presented, but we'll also offer tips on how to create a strong application, a strong resume, and a strong cover letter. And so that's my presentation. I hope you'll all apply. We will have tons of different opportunities for people with all different areas of interest, and I think you'll learn a lot just by applying about the kinds of different roles you might be able to fulfill either as an intern or in the future, and we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so next we have Sharon, which is our physics department leader. He's going to be talking about some physics opportunities that we have. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. So I'll be sharing my screen. I have a couple of different kinds of researches which people would be interested in at CCNY. The first one I would like to talk about is the off-campus researches, which are not on the CCNY campus, but these are the REUs or the summer researches which students can take. So there's this really good search engine called pathways2science.org, where there are options for both undergrads, graduates, and you can select the undergrads. Let's say I select the undergrads and I want to take the summer REUs. Then you can select this first option, the summer research experiences for undergraduates. And there you can select if that you're an undergrad and your program start date and all that stuff, which is not really necessary. You can just select undergrad and then go for the kinds of programs you want to go for. Let's say you want to go for all STEM fields, research programs, and it gives you like a list of all the different universities which have all these different programs which you can apply for. And you can see like there are some symbols on the bottom right. These represent different things. For example, this one represents there's an upcoming deadline. This one says that regardless of your citizenship, like if you're an international student or on an F1 visa, then you can apply for this one as well, because most of the summer REUs are funded by the NSF, which does not support the international students because they are a federal agency. So this is like a really good search engine for international students. And you can see like this one is funded by NSF and it also funds the international students. So please be sure to check out this search engine. I will be putting this in the this link in the chat later on. I don't think I can put it right now. And the second kinds of researches I wanted to talk about were the on-campus researches. So there are like a few different kinds of researches that students can do over here. The first one is the independent study, which is basically any independent study that you can do with your professor. let's say that there's a professor who you want to do research with. So you talk to them, you get the permission, and then you can apply for an independent study, which is basically like a course. It can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 credits, and you fill like a form for that, and then you get the permission from the department for that. And then you can spend the entire semester doing the research with your professor. As for the professors, you can there's like this entire list of all the different kinds of professors who are working on different things. You have Professor Robert Alfano working on photonics, Professor Timothy Boyer working on high energy theory, and all these different professors with who you can work. Usually undergrads go for experimental lab research because theoretical research is not really easy for undergrads, but that it's not impossible. I know undergrads personally who have done that. So be sure to check out some of these professors, contact them. Since we have COVID, we cannot like physically go and meet them, but usually that was the norm. But you can make sure to contact them and apply for the independent studies. And another program is the research honors program, which is just like the independent study, except for the fact that here you will do research and you will also prepare a paper. You will have 1 to 3 semesters to prepare this, and you will also be getting credits for this, and you will also be getting grades for this. And in the end, you publish your research and you also present it at the end of the semester or whenever your research is complete. And other than that, there's also this page, the on-campus research page, which has the on-campus research opportunities for every single department. You have the biology department, the chemistry, the physics department. So be sure to check out this one as well. So these are like the major on-campus researches that you can do. And the best part about them is that regardless of your citizenship, like whether you are a citizen, a resident, a DACA, whether you have a DACA status or you're an international student, you can do these ones. So yeah, that's very much it. And
Okay.
I'll be
Thank you
sending,
so much.
all right, I'll be sending these links in the chat now.
Yeah, thank you
Right.
so much. All right. Thank you, Chandra. So next is Dr. David Gerzelmi from B3 CCNY's RU. No? Is he here? There it is. Yeah.
I'm here, yes. I'm now unmuted. All right, let me also share my screen, and I want to continue in the same theme as the previous speaker about research on this campus, on the City College campus, that is. And I note that most of the opportunities that are being discussed here are off the City College campus, and they're excellent opportunities. And I would encourage the students to look at them very carefully. And I think it's important to go out and see all the things that are outside of campus. Very important. And this is certainly the way that I conducted myself. However, for some students, they're going to make a choice to stay on campus. And you guys can see my slide here.
Yes.
Okay, some students are going to make the choice to stay on campus. So for those students, there are, something's happened here. Okay, for those students, there are a number of programs that I want to bring to your attention. The first is the B Cubed, which is biochemistry, biophysics, and biodesign, and I'm the head of it. And so you see that there on the slide. You can get more information from the email address, the Twitter handle, and we also have a website. You can find us on Google, and I'll share the link as well. The second opportunity that I want to bring to your attention is called ORCA, Opportunities in Research and Creative Arts. Now, this is open to any undergraduate at City College, and it as you can see from the avatar, it is open to any discipline. Okay, and then I'm also going to give a plug to the CREST Ideals program, which runs out of my department, and this is run by Professor Maria Tamargo, and she also has a website, and there's an email address that you can reach out to her. Starting last summer, a new program was initiated that was shared between the School of Engineering and the Division of Science called CCNY STEM Communities Research Program, or SCRAP, as I like to call it. And that's also available as well. Now, the REU program, the Ideals program, and the CCNY STEM Communities Program, SCRAP, are all supported by the National Science Foundation. They are all aimed at undergraduates, so graduating seniors. If you have a bachelor's degree on the, you can't be part of the program. These are all summer programs, by the way. So on June 1 or so, if you have a bachelor's degree, you can't be accepted into the program. Each one has a stipend and will support in various ways. And each one will match you up, use the word match broadly, with a faculty member, and it will be mentored research in the research of your choice or the faculty's choice or some combination of the two. And the different programs do this in a slightly different way. Each of the programs, in addition to mentored research, has other programming that goes on over the summer. So it could be workshops on various things. It could be field trips. It could be lunches and meeting with speakers, and it just depends on what's available. All of these programs were virtual last summer or didn't run, and we are hoping to be able to run this summer, but one never really knows. So let me finish off by also noting just a few other examples that other programs that you might want to consider. And these are on the bottom here of my slide. So CCAP and Millie Roth's shop is also a clearinghouse for research opportunities, and advice for what laboratories are looking for students sometimes can come out of the CCAP program. And that's been a valuable resource for students. There's the SEEK Research Fellowship and the Rich Research Experience Scholarship, which I believe still exists from the math department. And then lastly, if there's a research of any faculty member at City College that strikes you as interesting, you can always just reach out to her or him and see if they're willing to take on a student for summer or for the coursework that was mentioned earlier by the previous speaker. Okay, and so that's my presentation, and I'll be happy to take questions in the breakout room.
All right, thank you so much. So next from Primer, the program to inspire minority and undeserved undergraduates in environmental health research, we have Nina J Klusky here to speak with us.
Hi, everybody. I'll go ahead and share my screen as well. 1 second. I had more than one PowerPoint open. Apologies. Just takes a second here. All right. Can you see that presentation? Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So a bit about this program. So I represent the School of Public Health at the Columbia University. We are the Upper Manhattan campus, up at the tip top of Manhattan, basically. So also ahead of time, I think Brenda, hi, nice to meet you. Just cut me off if you need to, because this is usually a longer presentation. I just sort of took it down to a couple of slides. So very quickly, this is a program to inspire minority and underserved undergraduates in EHS research. I'll say EHS, it makes it a little easier, but environmental health sciences. We just finished our 6th year in what was previously a 5-year grant. So now we've been renewed. This is our 1st year in the second 5 years. So we've at least 4 years ahead of us in this program. It's funded by the NIEHS, which is the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences under NIH, which is the National Institute of Health. So a little bit about what EHS is very quickly, and this particular picture is actually one of our primary trainees presenting in what was our conference room previously that I haven't seen in many a month. But the research in EHS is to understand the impact of the environment on human health. So some people think it's just sustainability or recycling. It's very much more than that. It's the science behind it. So just a particular sort of laundry list, if you will, of the types of research. Very much bench science exists in our department, as well as field research, community-based science. And I say quant-based because it's very important that everybody understand that sometimes you're not actually even in the field. You're sitting at a computer, but you're not just sitting at a computer. You're taking that data that's been collected and working on it. And it's a very important part of the process, which is something that is learned in this program as well. We're all over the world essentially, and some of the focus, particularly now in the age of COVID, is environmental justice and addressing vulnerable populations. And we can talk later about some of the projects that we've had in the past that have to do with the local communities and how those aims are met. Specific to this program, it is a paid research opportunity. So it's an opportunity to acquire new skills in environmental health research. This is one of those pipeline programs that's very much aimed at giving you some exposure to what environmental health sciences is, but also in the hopes that you'll go into research in environmental health, either if it's in further studies or or an ultimate job in environmental health sciences. However, we don't do sales, and I don't get to win a prize if you go into EHS. This is very much an exploratory program. So meaning that it's the time for you to figure out what does work for you, what you do enjoy, what you are interested in. And that's what we do in this program. So yes, the aim is to get you into a program, get you into graduate school and all that. And we will give you hopefully all those tools and experiences, but also it's to find out what you maybe don't want to do. So it's also important that you don't rule this out if it's something that's not you're absolutely sure what EHS even is yet. So do some digging. Again, it's a paid research opportunity. We understand that spending your summers, which I'll talk a little bit about the structure in just a second, we understand that you taking this time is also an important part of your experience, but you also need to figure out, obviously many of us, I'm still paying student loans, and making sure that you can afford your lifestyle, whatever that might be. So some of the other things that we cover, I can talk about later. We also cover GRE prep, which is the course that you would, the test you would take to get into graduate school. And obviously exploring a potential career in EHS. So what the program is, it's 2 summers. Now I say 2 summers, there's a little asterisk there. This program is for upcoming juniors, and I will add a caveat, it is also sort of for upcoming seniors. So in a perfect situation, a student would join as a trainee in their between sophomore and junior years that summer, and then continue on for 2 summers, 2 sessions. The summer before junior and the summer before senior, and then we do some work during the school year. First and foremost, the program is 10 weeks in the summer, and then during the school year, there's some additional work that we work with you to make that figure into your schedule. Your schoolwork is most important. You are a student most importantly, and we make sure that this is an augmenting, adding value experience and not taking away from that at all. So these are just some of the things that we cover. I don't want to necessarily read the slide to you, but I would say the takeaways are 10 weeks in the summer. If you're a upcoming junior, it would be 10 weeks in the summer before the junior year, and again in senior. If you're an upcoming senior, we do have potentially, I want to say potentially 1, if not more slots for an upcoming senior. So we would consider that, and it would just be that summer before, and then some hours in that first, that last year in your program. Your eligibility criteria, another important piece of this, because this is an NIEHS funded grant, it's a government funded grant. It's open to full-time undergraduate students in good standing with an underrepresented status or disadvantaged background status. And we can also talk about how you sort of qualify that, as well as your prior coursework potentially in these, and being a US citizen or permanent resident. I listed some research projects. I may be out of time. I just wanted to sort of list that. Most importantly, the deadline. I say it's a really, really big slide. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. A priority deadline is February 15th. And I say priority because obviously getting your stuff in early is always important for any program, but also do consider that you can submit after that. My thing would just be to reach out to me, let me know what's going on, that you're potentially applying, and I can talk with you about what our sort of absolute deadline would be. I'll put all of this in the chat, and I know that I'll also be sharing this with you all. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. Okay, so next we have Dr. Sierra Bucknell from the Feinstein Summer Research Internship Program. So,
hi, everyone. I also have a few slides to share, so I'll just get that started. Okay, hi. My name is Sierra. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow. I'm actually an alumna of City College. I did my PhD with Dr. Karen Hubbard. So I'm excited to be here today and hopefully share with you some opportunities for the summer for your students. These are just a few images of students from 2 summers ago, actually. And I think I enjoyed being a mentor, and I hope that many of you guys apply. So Feinstein Institute For those of you who are not familiar, it is considered the research arm of Northwell Health, which is the largest healthcare system in New York. Our president and CEO is Dr. Kevin Tracy, who pioneered this field of bioelectronic medicine. Feinstein is also home to several schools, the El Mezzi Graduate School for MDs, a PhD program, granting program for MDs. And it also houses the Zucker School of Medicine students, MD and PhD students who conduct research. There are about 50 laboratories or PIs, and there are about 5,000 researchers that are comprised of co-investigators, support staff, technicians. You have graduate students and postdoctoral fellows like myself. The Feinstein Institute is located at about 30 minutes from City College at 350 Community Drive, but technically our researchers conduct research anywhere within the 23 hospitals and outpatient centers in the Northwell Health System. A lot of our investigators are have affiliations with the 5 institutes that comprise Feinstein: the Institute of Behavioral Science, those of you who are interested in psychiatric research, bioelectronic medicine, which is this, again, new field of neuroscience to heal disease. We have cancer research, we have health innovations and outcomes research, which is related to epidemiology. And we also have the Institute for Molecular Medicine, which is the institute which I belong to. And officially, we have 2 programs. One is the Feinstein Summer Research Internship Program. This is a mentored program, which is for college students. It gives them hands-on experience. Basically, you are paired with a PI according to interests that you state in your application, and you work on an ongoing project within one of the programs. For the summer, it's typically an 8-week commitment. And this year, due to COVID, we have reduced the number of applicants that will be accepted. About 25 interns for this specific program. And some of the benefits in addition to doing research is that you'll be exposed to a lot of the seminars and workshops related to career development. And I'm not really sure how it will be done this year, but typically there is a poster session where, you know, family, your PI, your mentors are all invited, and it sort of sums up the entire research experience with a poster. And for this program, you are also given a $2,000 stipend to offset any costs related to transportation. And so for this, actually, the deadline is coming up. It's March 1st, and applications are available online, which is, and I guess later on in detail, I'll go over the components of the application process. The second program is quite similar, the Summer Visiting Student program, where these students are actually, includes high school students as well as graduate students, whereas the other program was only open to undergraduates. The difference here is that a student who is interested will actually need to reach out directly to a PI via email or some way of connecting with them. And if they are accepted and they want to accept you in their lab, they will initiate the process on your behalf. There is no stipend associated with this program, but obviously there are other benefits. And the deadline for this program for the submission of all the materials is a little bit later, about April 15th. And the application process for that is also accessible through the website and the link. So I guess later on, I'll definitely give more detail, but I recommend that anyone who is interested in learning more about Feinstein and Northwell Health, I would say, at least for the last 2 years, I've been affiliated with the Institute, and I think we have a great environment for any student who is interested in basic research or clinical research. You'll be around many different individuals with a diversity of strengths and skills that would be useful for undergraduate students, and definitely if you know anyone who is also a graduate student to be exposed to research at Feinstein. But thank you to the organizers. I can share these also with you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next we have Mohammed Ghanem talking about the waiting room as a literacy and learning environment. Am I unmuted? Yes. Hi. Okay. So go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. All right. So my name is Mohammed Ghanem, and I am actually a senior at the City College of New York. And here I'll talk about the Wally Anchor program offered by the New York Presbyterian Columbia campus. What is the Wally program? It's not this cute little robot that a lot of people reference to, but Wally stands for waiting room as a literacy and learning environment. It's where we connect low-income families to free and low-cost community resources using social determinants of health. What is the social determinants of health? It's defined by the WHO organization, World Health Organization. They defined it as the circumstances of our daily lives and the environments in which we are born, grow, play, work, love, and age. Understanding how community condition affects our physical and mental health is the first step to building a healthier New York City. So how do we accomplish this? Well, before the pandemic, we used to approach patients and then let them complete a questionnaire. And then based on their answers to the questionnaire, we would connect them with necessary resources via NowPow. And NowPow is in partnership with our campus. And NowPow, based on their address, pulls up different programs that they connect them near in the area where the patient lives, and pulls up some resources based on where the patient lives and based on patient needs as well. How do we accomplish this now? So right now, interns retrieve a patient list from our coordinators. We call patients using Google Voice, and we walk them through the questionnaire questions. And then afterwards, we just send them the resources tailored to their needs, also via NowPow. So it's the same system. We just do it from home, from remote. I'm not sure when, but hopefully in the near future, we might go back to in person, but we will see how the situation goes. Next, the qualification and requirements. The program has a rolling admissions, and we recruit throughout the year. So it could be fall, spring, or summer semester. If it's throughout any point of the year, the minimum commitment is 1 full academic semester and a minimum 8 hours per week. Or you can even split this up and do 2 4-hour tours, 2-hour shifts per week. You can also do more, but that would be depending on your schedule. And one more thing too, we follow the New York Presbyterian's campus office hours. It's technically Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So those are the only areas where you can really volunteer and intern with us. And of course, with this program, you would need exceptional interpersonal skills and comfortable approaching patients and holding conversations with patients. Of course, if you're not comfortable, because when I first started, I was not comfortable, but over time, you do get better. Believe me, I've been with the program for about 2 years. So yeah, these are like sensitive topics, sensitive questions we do ask these patients. So we do coach you and we do train you as well. So we just won't give you patients with the phone numbers and just say good luck. No, we train you. We have different orientation lessons and different ways where we can coach you into becoming this liaison for these patients. And we do prefer bilingual, so either Spanish or English, Arabic or English, or even French or English or any other language. It's not to say that if you're not bilingual, we won't accept, but we just prefer bilingual because right now this program is only offered by the New York Presbyterian Columbia campus. And our main demographics for patients is mostly Hispanic or Spanish speaking. But again, I don't want to discourage you. We do accept a wide range of people. And then the benefits of volunteering, last internship. You learn the basic tenets of health literacy and the effects of social determinants of health. You develop motivational interviewing skills, and you have direct patient interaction. And finally, a stipend is offered upon a completion of 256 hours, which is $1,000. And once if we come back, you get this cool T-shirt. And then how to apply, you will complete the New York Presbyterian volunteer application, which will be sent out following the recording of the session. And you can email the application to Evelyn Gautier or Emmeline Martinez, which are the program coordinators. This information will also be included in the application. And thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Bill. Okay, so next we have Sephora Todd from Gift of Life. Sephora, hello.
Hi. Yeah, I'm also going to share my screen. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sephora. I'm also a senior at CCNY, and I'm going to be presenting about Gift of Life. Gift of Life is an international public bone marrow and blood stem cell registry, and their goal is to facilitate transplants for children and adults suffering from many life-threatening blood diseases, especially cancers. Every 3 minutes, a patient is diagnosed with blood cancer, and so many of these patients will end up requiring stem cell transplants. There's a 1 in 4 chance that a patient's sibling will be able to provide them for the transplant. However, if that's not the case, they have to go to the public registry. And right now, only about 2% of Americans are registered donors, and it's really, really hard to find a match on the registry. Additionally, ethnic minorities are really underrepresented in the registry. So the goal of Gift of Life is to just get as many people as possible into the registry and then to facilitate transplants. So the steps to becoming a life-saving donor are actually really simple, especially the first step, which is what I'm presenting today, and that's learn, swab, save lives. All you do is learn about Gift of Life, learn about how to get involved, and then if you're interested, you can order online a swab kit to swab your cheeks, which is all you do to get into the registry. Non-invasive, nothing, like you just swab your cheeks, mail it back to them in a prepaid envelope, boom, you're in the registry. And that doesn't commit you to anything, but that does open you up to the possibility of becoming a donor. If you were to match with a patient, the next step would be confirmatory typing, which is basically just a blood test. And then if that goes through, the next step would be a workup just to make sure that you're a healthy, fit donor and you're also a good match for the patient. And then the next step would be the donation, which 80% of the time is just blood stem cell donation. So it's kind of like donating platelets, non-invasive. You're up on your feet the next day. They give you a nice blanket with lots of signs, and then those cells will go into a patient and hopefully save that patient's life. So there are 3 ways to get involved with Gift of Life today. Step 1, or option 1, would be volunteering. And all you would do is kind of help facilitate drives, give presentations, kind of like what I'm doing today. And to get involved, you can either email us at ccnygiftoflife@gmail.com or message us on Instagram at ccnygiftoflife. Option 2 would be interning. I should have mentioned this, but I'm a campus ambassador, so I'm part of their internship program. And it's a semester-long commitment where you just try to reach out and get as many people on your campus to register to become donors. And then the third option, which is the best option, is swab, because then you could potentially save a life. So in order to do that, you would go to giftoflife.org/swab. And then there would be an option to say, select your event, and it would be some variation of the title, like CCNY Opportunities Fair. And then you fill out a little health form, and then they'll mail you a swab kit with a prepaid envelope to return it to them. You just take the little Q-tips, you swab your cheeks, you mail it back, and maybe you can save a life. Yeah, just follow us on Instagram, email us if you have any questions. I'll send the links and the accounts into the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next we have Matt London with the Occupational Health Internship Program.
Hello, everyone. Every year, roughly 100,000 American workers die from a work-related illness or injury. OHIP, the Occupational Health Internship Program, is a paid summer internship where we take interns and pair them up and then match them with a union or a worker center or a community group. We're a national program. We're going to be in, I think, 6 cities this coming summer: New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. The goal of our program, frankly, is to identify and train the next generation of health and safety workers, people who want to make a career out of helping workers stay safe, making work safer. As I mentioned, it's a paid internship. It's 9 weeks, June 14th to August 13th. The people who are eligible are undergrads who are either currently sophomores, juniors, or seniors, or grad students. And the pay for the summer is $4,000 for undergrads, $5,200 for grad students. Each project, as I said, we're pairing 2 interns with a host union or worker center. And it's really a kind of self-contained applied research project, working on a health and safety issue that's of importance to that union or worker center. Each project will have direct interaction with workers. In the old times, it really was almost on a daily basis that the interns would be interacting with workers, running focus groups, interviewing them, watching them work. This summer, because of COVID, we expect most projects will be a hybrid with hopefully some face-to-face interaction available, but certainly some of it is most likely to be done virtually or remotely. Again, depending on how things proceed over the next 5-6 months. We're really looking, as I said, for people who, hopefully will eventually take an interest in helping workers stay safe. We're looking for young activists who are really interested in social change. Sorry I don't have slides together for this, but I'll be sharing some stuff with Christina, who's organizing this, and I think she'll get them out to you. But our website is OHIP intern, OHIP intern, one word, .org. And there's information about our program. You can access the application there. As I said, the deadline is February 12th. And, I hope some of you are interested. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next we have Anastasia talking about a few more opportunities. Anastasia, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So what I will be presenting is just very quickly the opportunities that wish to join us today, but due to scheduling conflicts, they couldn't make it. So I am also going to share my screen. So the first one is from Cornell, the Agritech, and they are for undergraduate students who do independent research projects, basically on horticulture, plant breeding, and plant pathology. And you do get a stipend for this internship. You have to be at least 18 years old, an undergraduate. And this is the link to apply. We will give you all this information after the fair. So I'm just quickly telling you about it. The next one is the LES Ecology Center. They are looking for someone that can help with their environmental education program. And they're basically going to develop a curriculum, conduct workshops. So anyone that's interested in education and ecology can definitely apply to this. And the deadline to apply is February 14th. And this, again, this PDF file will also be sent to you guys later. And finally, there is this video that I want to show you.
Hi, my name is Kate.
Can everyone hear it?
And I am a high school math teacher working on my doctorate in education, specifically focusing on the underrepresentation of minorities in STEM education. I'm reaching out to you as a STEM major, and specifically if you identify as a minority, African American, or Latino descent, to fill out my survey. My survey involves questions about the positive and negative experiences that you've had in your STEM education that has led you to pursue majoring in STEM. I also asked some questions about why you're not interested in becoming a STEM teacher. I'm hoping to use this research to get a better understanding of the systemic racism that's still taking place and impacting the low number of minority STEM teachers. If you participate in the survey, you'll be in a drawing for multiple $100 gift cards. If you're willing to participate in an interview after that, you will automatically get $25 gift card to Amazon for just participating in a 30-minute interview after the survey. I'd greatly appreciate your participation and would love to hear about your experience.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Anastasia. So now we're gonna start the Q&A session and we'll put everybody into breakout rooms. So you have an opportunity to ask presenters directly some questions about what they've talked about.
We're going to keep everyone here. We have great attendance, better than expected, which is wonderful, but we feel like it would be a little unruly to try to deal with breakout rooms. So if folks want to either ask questions live or put them in the chat function, that's probably the best way to go about this so that we don't waste any time with the logistics.
So I have a question, but I want to give opportunity for students to ask questions first.
Why don't you go ahead, Christine, and get it going? Sometimes you need that first person.
Okay, so for those that are accepting applications, one of the things that I've seen students, and I think back to the time when I was a student myself, I struggled with most was putting together a personal statement. So for those of you that have personal statements or parts of your applications where students are writing in a freehand expression, what are some of the things that have stood out to you over the years?
I can go. I raised my hand just because I didn't want to be unruly. So for the primer program specifically, because we serve a specific population, we obviously there's some questions we can and can't ask you in a particular way. So that's one thing. Just first and foremost, us understanding your story, why you think this program is good for you. And I say good for you and not the other way around. So I think that I don't want to speak for other programs, but I think for us, we want to know how can we add value to you and your experience. How can we be helpful to you and bolster you in your whatever your effort is? In this case, it's obviously the EHS pipeline, but again, I think it's very important to understand just what your goals are, if you have them, or what you're hoping to figure out, because we know that you might not also have a plan. You might not have a goal, but you need assistance or just some guidance around that. And an additional network, additional resources are so important to that. So just even your self-identification by applying, first and foremost, you already get kudos for that, just hitting the button or starting the process. But telling us a story as a part of your statement is very helpful to bring everything together. So all those other pieces, are important. That's an important part. Your story is the most important piece of the application for us.
I want to echo that for mentoring in medicine, we do ask students to not only write a personal statement, but also video pre-interview. And a lot of health professional schools are now doing that. So you'll have to answer questions, for example, and send in the YouTube video of your answers to those questions. But with the personal statement, we look for, a student's journey, what makes them unique. First generation college student, raised by a single parent, experienced social determinants that were referred to, I think, by Mo in his presentation. That's first of all. Secondly, we look for obstacles that the student has overcome. And that means, stating the obstacle, claiming it, that yes, it happened, but then also talking about what they did about that obstacle, how they overcame it, and strategies they'll use, for the future. So that's important. Also important is, hobbies. And, we want to know more about the student. Are you well-rounded? Are you just a health and science geek, or, are you into playing the violin or learning many languages? So that is also interesting. And then, as Nina said, how can participating in this program help you along your journey? That's very important. And in addition, why should we choose you when we have, 1,000 other people applying for that same position? So what makes you special? What will you add? to the program, and how will we help you? And then lastly, what do you see as your future? Do you see your future as being, a science researcher? Is there any specific topic you're interested in exploring? Have you done that before in your journey and now you'd like to expand that? So those are some of the answers that we're looking for. And I know there are a lot of questions to put in a one-pager, but those are some of the answers that we're looking for.
This is Matt London. So for OHIP, for the Occupational Health Internship Program, we're really, as I said in my brief presentation, looking for young people who've been active and involved. We don't ask sort of what your grade point average is or anything like that. We really, in a couple of short sort of essay questions, one paragraph essay questions, want to know what was it about our program that interested you? Why are you applying? And, what have you been involved in, and, what sort of activities have you done? Those are really the main things that we're looking for.
This is Tom from the Duke Marine Lab. I was going to share an anecdotal story. So I agree with everything that's been said. It really is about a story and the story of you. But one of the stories one of the applications that caught my eye one time was I had a woman who worked for the a wildlife foundation, and she was handling porcupines. This was like 3 words in her resume, and I looked at this, and as a lab person, I'm like, yeah, I want to meet somebody who knows how to handle porcupines. She's probably got some pretty good hands and would be pretty effective in the lab. And so she ended up being a fantastic student. So sometimes it's the little things that you don't really expect, but it's that story, right? And it's the life experiences, and all those things are really important to get across in the personal statement. The other thing that I wanted to add is we get 1 million applications that say, oh, I want to go out in the water and watch dolphins. Well, okay, sure, everybody wants to go watch dolphins, but that personal statement needs to go a little bit deeper and a little bit beyond just, what you bring to the program as well as what the program can do for you. And I think both of those things are really important.
Thank you all so much. So we have another question that was in the chat is, what factors would make you reject an applicant?
I would say that, at least for our program, we list a lot of job descriptions. So if you really don't fulfill most of the requirements in a job description, it's probably not the best one for you to apply to and not going to be the best use of your time. Also, because we have a lot of positions listed, sometimes, and we do encourage students to apply for multiple roles, but sometimes we have students who apply for 10 roles at once. And then we look at their cover letters where they apply for those roles, and all the cover letters are exactly the same. And probably if you are just writing the same cover letter for 10 different positions, you're not going to be doing a good job of applying to any of those positions. When you write a cover letter, you should be referencing the requirements in the job description and how you fulfill the requirements that are listed there. And don't just say that you're detail oriented, but give an example of something you've done that shows that you're detail oriented, and also make sure that you've done your research on the company or the program, and that you can express genuine interest both in the work of the organization as a whole and in the role that is listed. So not doing those things can cause you to be rejected.
I would completely agree with that. And for us, it's a little bit different because we're trying to match advisees with mentors, right? And so I'm looking for students who want to work with a particular mentor. And so stating that in your personal statement in terms of having focus and what it is you want to do in the program is really important.
I just wanted to mention that I guess mentoring medicine's a little bit different in that, we don't quote unquote reject people. We feel that our students really have been quote unquote rejected in so many other ways that we really try to, really nourish them and teach them and give them strategies for becoming more competitive. I will say that we are more of a resource to other programs that do have strict criteria, but our goal is to really help the students realize that there are criteria and how they can become more competitive so that they qualify for the programs.
We have another question that has appeared in the chat. What is your favorite aspect of your work environment?
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I'll share a story. I'm teaching a marine mammal genomics class right now, and we just at the beginning of class, I asked the students, who knows something interesting they want to share with the class? They just described a new species of whale. I can't believe there's a new species of whale that has been described, but the paper came out in January 2021. I love teaching. I love learning.
Let's see. Let me
go
ahead.
No, it's okay. Go. No problem.
I mentioned two things. One selfish, one not selfish. So the one thing that I like about my work environment is as a researcher, discovering something new, seeing something that no one has ever seen before. So that's the selfish one. The unselfish one is, I mentor students from high school to doctoral students, and especially the starting doctoral students, as confident as they are, that they're, when they finally get that result that suggests, an avenue to their research is open, that's when they really hit their stride. And so people come with varying levels of confidence, but everybody is boosted by that first really positive result. And so that's an exciting place to be for me, to have been a part of that.
Mo, please go ahead.
So one of the experiences for me for the WALI program is that when you're talking to patients, in my perspective as an intern who's been there for a while, when you're calling patients or even during the wait, when you're in the waiting room, asking these patients questions before the pandemic and now over the phone, you're not only asking these patients questions, you actually become like an outlet for them to discuss their problems, discuss what they need help, what resources they need, what they need help in. It's really nice because it's not like you're not an intern anymore. It's like you're somebody they want to talk to and like let out their fears, their worries, and it shows that it helps the patient like calm down. And I find that very rewarding.
I also feel like I can answer. What's nice about the Gift of Life internship program is that you are connected to Gift of Life, the organization, and they do provide you a lot of support. But I think my favorite part has been interacting with a bunch of different student groups on campus and meeting all of my peers that I never would have met otherwise, other than in previous days, standing in the NAC rotunda like a lunatic, trying to call people over. I also think one of the most rewarding things was this past, a month ago, I received notification that one of the people I swabbed at City College actually matched with a patient. And okay, they always talk about how amazing that moment is, but you don't really get it till you get that email and you're like, what? And that happened at City College, and that's so cool and great.
Thank you all for sharing. We have another question in the chat. Several actually are coming in. So for those presenters, I see that there are some people answering, that's great. Thank you. This one is I see the questions actually being answered further down. For the REUs, do we need to have any research experience prior to applying?
No is the general answer, and some students do come in, but there's none required, and we try to match the student up with the right mentor who has the resources to deal with the student where they are. We try to meet the student where they are.
And I also see that the BQ was answered in the chat. Another question that has come into the chat is for applicants who are applying to internships for the first time and don't have experience in lab skills or any useful skills related to the program, what should be the focus of the resumes and the cover letters?
There again, I was going to follow up the previous answer with leadership skills and teamwork. ability to work in teams and get along, because building cohorts in these programs is really important. So being able to get along with that cohort becomes really important for the REU program, especially ours, because they spend so much time together on island interacting with each other, and those team building skills are really important.
I would also add that if you haven't had previous research experience, say outside of the classroom, that you include a section on your resume for projects, and list a few of the major projects that you have done in your classes with a couple of bullet points under each one, so that you can show that you know how to apply the skills that you're saying you have, and they're not just something in a vacuum, but you've actually applied them and you understand how they work and you can use them in a productive way.
Actually, I really like the theme, and I was going to say something similar, which was don't highlight the things that you don't have, but rather highlight the things that you do, and recalibrate even the question, because I personally I'm of the sort of mind that you don't not have those skills necessarily. I think you have something that applies, right? So even, I mean, I joke with my sister, she's a homemaker, and I'm like, you have plenty of skills. You're a planner, you keep calendars, you're a transport, you're everything. So just keep in mind that like all the things that you're doing are in the academic world, and many of these programs are in that world as well. So you have something, I'm sure, that applies. So use that positive spin.
Also, it's okay to have different versions of your resume for different jobs you're applying for. I think a lot of people understand that you're supposed to tailor your cover letter, but it's also okay to tailor your resume. And sometimes you're applying for a job that maybe is a different focus that you hadn't thought about before, but you are qualified for it. However, you did not put those things on your resume that maybe show how you're qualified for that position or emphasize that. So feel free to make different versions of your resume that will show how you're a good fit for a particular opportunity.
Yeah.
So Sharon, we don't know each other, but I want to say like we do similar things, because we actually offer a professional development series as a part of our program, and these are the things I say as well.
Yes.
Nina and Sharon, thank you for stating that, because I'll find myself sometimes when I review student personal statement, I'm like, I don't see you here. You know, they left out a whole lot of things that they think is not important. I'm like, who is this? You know, and they say, oh, I don't think, oh, this. So thank you. That's very important, because you have to convince them how to use other things that they're doing to show the skills that is required for a particular program. So thank you.
So I'm curious to know, I'm just going to open it up to the students that are here with us. Before I ask one final question that I like to ask, unless there's other questions coming in, but does anyone have any additional question that they would like to ask? How likely are freshmen to be admitted into the programs?
I'll say for us, it's unfortunately restricted, but for those who are freshmen, please just reach back out. This grant is a 5-year grant. We're in the first year of our second round, so we have 4 more years. There's time for you, so please reach back out, come to these sessions. But for us, it would be after your sophomore year, you could apply, or during rather, for after your sophomore year.
For mentoring in medicine, again, we're a continuity program, so we do have internships for students who are in freshman year. We post those through our e-newsletter, which goes out about every 2 weeks. I will tell you that we do have the community health ambassador internship going on. We just finished a leadership in medicine internship with about 200 students. That was 1 week, and we take, again, students who are in school, freshmen through senior, and also students who are post-bac students. So those students who may be doing a gap year are welcome to join these programs.
I would say for Lifesci NYC internship program, it is harder. I'll be honest with you, it's harder to get placed as a freshman, but do your due diligence. And when you're reading the job descriptions, first of all, look for ones that you qualify for. Don't look for ones that are only accepting master's students or juniors and above. So apply for the ones that are accepting freshmen. And then also just remember that when you're doing this job application process, every step of it is a thing that is benefiting you going forward. You're going to become a better job seeker. You're going to become better at writing resumes and cover letters. You're going to learn about a lot of different opportunities that are out there that tell you about career possibilities you may not have known existed. So you have not wasted your time. And going forward, you're going to be more qualified, especially if you get an interview. Even if you don't get the job, that is terrific experience that you can chalk up to something that's going to help you in the future. So keep at it, apply for lots of different roles, and something will work out.
All right, I'm going to wrap up with a question that I'm going to ask each presenter to take a moment to answer. And I'm going to start with Sephora. And then after, you could all unmute yourselves as you wish. If there was a non-obvious tip that you could share with yourself years ago to get you where you are today, what would that tip be?
I would have to say that my tip to myself would have been just apply to anything and everything that even slightly interests you. I would say, like, just getting over the fear of rejection is a big deal, but once you just start sending out applications to things, you never know what you're going to get into. You never know what's going to end up being like a life-changing experience and helping you grow as a student in person.
Oh, this is a great question, and I want to say a lot of things, but I think I can figure out the top one for me because it's super non-obvious. Personally, I'm a self-advocate, so I've always been that way, and I've always thought like I'm gonna do things and whatever, but it became harder when I didn't actually reach out when I needed help, when I maybe didn't even know I needed help. So my sort of non-obvious thing is try to find a mentor, and by that I mean somebody for each stage of whatever you're doing, not a one person forever, which would be fantastic, but find a person to like keep growing with the mentor. And maybe you'll keep all those people in your back pocket, but don't think that you always have to just self-advocate or do things alone, because I think that's an important, seeking help there's nothing wrong with that. It's really going to help you.
I actually have two. One is you're not an imposter. You are where you should be when you should be there. So just continue to say that to yourself, despite what other thoughts in your head may be saying to you or other people may be saying to you. And secondly, leverage relationships. You get into various programs, you meet various people, and make sure you keep in touch with those people. If not for a true mentoring relationship, it helps you build your network of people who are in the profession and career, and you never know who they know and so on. So those are my two tips.
My tip is similar. It was going to be learn how to network, because I would say it's not something that I learned until just a few years ago, but it's super helpful, and it can be scary, especially for people who aren't naturally outgoing. But you'll find that most people are really receptive if you reach out to them and you maybe pay them a compliment and you ask them for their advice, or you say you'd like to have a conversation with them to learn about what they're doing. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to talk to people when you're at in-person events. Don't be afraid to email people that are doing things that interest you. You might make a good contact, and you will definitely learn more about the kind of opportunities that might be available to you.
And this is Matt. I mean, what I would say is, many of you, probably think you know what you want to do as a career. What I would advise is, be open to all kinds of possibilities. I was a Chinese studies major as an undergrad, had been politically active in a lot of things. I stumbled into sort of a science, public health, career because I sort of knew that I kind of liked science and kind of liked activism, and public health fit the bill, even though it hadn't been on my radar. So, just don't limit yourself.
I have a colleague, another DUS colleague, and this is along the sort of find a mentor, find an advisor, establish relationships. And his recommendation is to actually establish one good relationship every year you're at college. By the end of the 4 years, you have 4 very strong letters of recommendation of people who know you. And that's not that intimidating and not that difficult to do. And it's actually, I think it's really good advice. So that's not, well, it's my advice to you because I think it's good, but it's not my personal advice. My personal advice boils down to 2 words, all right? My personal advice is be curious, don't ever lose your curiosity.
I think this Ciara, I think there's so many tips I think that everyone pretty much said beforehand. But for me, I definitely want to stress the importance of building your network that involves not only your mentor, advisors, but also your peers. Having a group of individuals that you can relate to that are going through similar experiences definitely will help you throughout your, school as well as the preparation for your next career. I was trying to jump in before my toddler did, but but I definitely want to echo that. Building your network is definitely important for you. And again, you will never know who you will encounter and who knows who, to echo what has been stated before. So definitely that's my tip.
I want to say that you just missed 100% of the shots you don't take. Just keep applying to everything and anything, especially like was said before, if it interests you. And the path to like success is not a straight one. I had to change my path so many ways to get to where I am. But each point like has helped me become a better person and a better, more knowledgeable, person. So yeah, just wanted to say my advice.
Dr. Gerzelmi, would you like to offer anything to say?
With the final word. So everything's been said by everyone, but it hasn't been said by everyone. So I agree with everything that's been said. I think networks, curiosity, trying out new things, somewhere in there would be my advice to myself.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for attending and participating. We will be getting the live recording up ASAP, I believe, sometime by today. And we'll be sending out a thank you email to all participants, where you will be also asked and welcome to share whatever it is that you'd like with the students. And then we'll be sending out the follow-up email to all attendees as well. So thank you all. This concludes the event.
Thank you.